Just receive. Because one of the things I discovered that my satisfaction wasn't in completing a project. Okay? My satisfaction wasn't that. Because I found out that the moment I complete a project, God had another one for me. And so it was a never-ending project going on. My satisfaction was in Him. Okay, I wish somebody can get it. I was already satisfied because I already had Him. So I can stop searching for satisfaction, trying to accomplish various things. If y'all can't follow me here, okay, I can't. I was searching for satisfaction by accomplishing this and doing this and doing that and doing this and doing this and thinking that it was going to bring me satisfaction. I was actually already satisfied because I had God with me. So it was regardless to whether I completed the project successfully or not, I still should be satisfied.
And the importance of getting this point before we even go any further is that the enemy loves for you to believe that your satisfaction is in things and in accomplishments, because then he can keep you searching after things and accomplishments without recognizing you have everything you need right now. Now, this is not a talk against accomplishments and things, but don't get confused. Your search is not after bigger, better, greater, more for the sake of having it. Because the enemy will keep you on that search. He'll keep it just outside of your reach. And as you know, once you reach one thing, you're not happy about that. There's still this gnawing emptiness of I need more. And you recognize that the more you need is in Christ Jesus. Thank you, God.
Amen. Amen. And I want to let you know, because I'm scanning the room as I talk, that even in the position I am in, I have come to realize that I can't do everything right. I do things wrong. I didn't hear enough so I didn't see enough bobbleheads. I cannot do everything right. But what I've come to realize is that God is right. Okay? He is right. Okay? He is always right. Now, I can be wrong and I can do things wrong. God has this wonderful thing that He will do. He'll take my wrong. Not that He will fix my wrong. We're going to get to the testimonies in a minute. Not that He will fix my wrong. He's right regardless. He will bypass all the wrong things that I do, and then He'll make something right come out on the other end. And never ever fix my wrong. Because I've made some big mistakes. I made some wrong decisions as I was going through ministry. I'm talking about some really wrong ones. And people, since people always think that a pastor has to make the right decisions, they go, okay, I hope somebody. They always looking and they just can't believe that I could make a wrong decision. And so many times it's kept away from the congregation, all the wrong decisions I've made. Ooh, if I could tell you, if we added up the amount of money we lost along the way, we probably could purchase 15 churches from all the wrong decision. But we're trusting God in the process, and God is just keep saying, I'm right. I told you to do that. Go and do it. Go and do that. I ended up with an architect that was just stepping in the way, taking money, doing things, changing stuff, charging me for it, and then after we pay him, he goes back to previous versions and he'll bring them back and put them in front of my face and say that it will cost me money in order to change it back to the new way. Then submit it to the city, and the city comes back with a thick book of errors that is in it, and he's telling me you're going to have to pay a certain amount for each error to correct it. I was ready to jump on him. I've told that testimony. I was ready to jump, literally. Stood there, almost gave him a heart attack because it was on my mind, looking him in the face, saying,
Bishop was intimidating them on purpose. He flexed on them and everything.
And got in trouble with God. But I discovered that God can take the wrong and he doesn't correct it, but the right will come out of it because he is righteous.
Before we get into some more of it, the importance for you to understand that is sometimes you will see the wrong in your leader and expect them to be perfect in what they're doing. And the enemy will use that to make you walk away from your blessed place. Sometimes you'll see an error or a wrong or making a wrong. People step back. Why did Bishop agree to that? Why did this happen? And I want you to put your name in it because they're watching you too as people of God. Why did you make that wrong mistake? That ain't God. I'm through. I'm out. I'm done. Right? What you have to do is keep your minds focused on Christ Jesus. Know that even if there are no, we like to say there's no perfect people, but we really want to hold the pastor to be perfect.
Right.
But tell your neighbor they are not perfect people. Mistakes will happen. They'll make a wrong choice. Not intentionally. This is not a license for going out doing wrong. But even if you take a wrong action, God can still use it if you keep your heart in the right place. It's not over. Tell your neighbor that, say, it's not over. It's not over. Just because you don't, God is still right. God sees the heart, and he'll take that wrong, and he'll make it right. Amen.
One more before we get into the testimonies. A conflict, I used to run away from it. Now I've learned to embrace the conflict because it's just an indication that I'm close to my breakthrough. Okay. You know, the word says, you shall reap if you faint not. I've read that in the word, right? You shall reap if you faint not, right? That tells you that fainting is going to become an option right before you get ready to reap. It's going to always be there. Right before you get ready to reap what God has in store for you, you're going to have on your mind that I'm ready to faint. I'm about to pass out. I am about to walk out. I am about to throw in the towel because the devil is just cunning because he waits until he knows that you're getting ready to receive, and then he causes conflict to come into your area. And that will cause you to walk away. I just wonder how many harvests people have aborted because the enemy came right on the brink of when they were getting ready to do it. Because I notice he kicks up his heels every time right before something is getting ready to happen that is major. And after a while, I started looking for him and preparing myself because I knew right before God is getting ready to show up, he wants me to walk away from the harvest that is getting ready to take place. And so I have to push through. Oh, we're going to be talking about a lot of pushing through as we go through this, because you have to push through some things and you have to almost embrace conflict and not avoid it, because it's only going to make you stronger. And that's for real. It's only going to make you stronger. So we want you to know the Lord. So we're going to talk about mainly about what we just went through, because we noticed some parallels between going through, because God has this system that he has shown me in ministry, is that when we first started Victory and Praise Church, it was only my wife and I, and then Pam and Tylos, the other bishop from Modesto, joined us with their family, and we were the only ones, and then God started growing it from there. When we got, after 3 years, we decided that we were going to purchase a building. And as we were going through purchasing the building, we went through a lot of things. And one of the things that we went through is that the bank said, how many years have you been in business? And we said 3 years. They said, we don't loan to churches that's been in business for 3 years. We only loan to churches that's been in 10 years or more. And I said, but we've only been in 3. You can't change 3 to 10. So the banker said, what we can do is that you grew up in church, right? Yes. Go to your home church. Have them write a letter that says that you are a good guy. That's all they got to put on a piece of paper. Bring it to us and we will give you the loan. I went to my home church.
We were excited about that stipulation. Because he was a good guy. And I was a good girl. So this was easy peasy. We were excited. It's surely a done deal.
Yes.
Because we didn't leave in a church split. There was no issues, no problems. We served well. We were tithe payers. We were in a lot of different committees. We thought this was a slam dunk.
So we went to our home church where we both grew up our whole life, and we told them, all you got to do is put on a piece of paper that Rufus is a good guy and they will give us the loan. Yeah. They took a vote and they said no. I said, maybe you didn't understand what I said. Maybe you did not understand what I said. They said, oh, we understood. And we still said no. I was so hurt that I started crying because I'm saying, this doesn't require anything of you. Nothing. You're not co-signing. You're not saying that you're going to have to pay back the money. All you have to do is write it on the piece of paper. And then all of a sudden we sat there and said, now what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to keep moving. And the bank never brought it back up again. And we got the loan. Okay.
That's the part that I want to make sure you keep as a recurring thought in your mind. We're going, wow, they did what? Oh, I want you to hear God in all of it. How God was still making a way. How God was providing. How God was moving. How God was changing and shifting. God was there. We said we know God. We better get to know God, how God will move, what it is. To go from 5,000 to 10,000 to 50,000, and we didn't have the money and didn't know how. So we'll focus on the large tags as opposed to saying, what a God. What a God. Because the more you know God, the more you'll know God. The more he'll require of you, the more you'll have to serve him. The larger the requirements become. Okay, now, we're current day. Wait, one more thing I want to say.
Go ahead.
The other good thing about God is God was so faithful and kind because it's all pointing to his love. How much he wants you to know who he is and what he's capable of doing. God is merciful even in the process. There were a lot of things that could have caused us to faint, but that one moving from 50,000 or 100,000 to a true price tag of 1.2 million, that gap was too big, so God made us think it was going to be 500,000. Oh, I don't know that we'll move forward. Come on now. I don't know that we'll move forward from 100,000 to 1.2 million. We would have made it over that, right? So God said, okay, then put a price tag on me. He's working behind. Yes. It's going to be 500,000. Yes. I know what it's going to cost. Right? Yeah. I don't know if they can trust me just yet for 1.2. But they don't think it is. See how good God is? Yes. See how good God is? Come on, and that's what God does to you in your life. Come on, you can make it. That seems like it's too hard for you. Come on, you can do it. He won't put more on you than you can bear.
That's now I'm gonna need you to explain because I got to get people to understand this. I know women can understand this, and I don't know how I'm gonna get men to understand it. But can you explain? Let me just say my part, and then you can just take over. Because after we made it through all of that. And, you know, we were in the church and all of that different stuff. I said to myself, I'll never get in that position again. I said, that was too much. That was crazy. I don't even know how we came out of that. And I said, I will never, ever find myself in that position again. And it's almost as if, you know how you, Men in Black, where they had that thing and go, shoo, shoo. Yeah, and make you forget. God made me forget until I was in it again.
It's too late to do anything.
It's too late to turn around. Then all of a sudden I'm sitting here and I'm saying, how in the world did I get back here again? This particular time, because the price tag was over $2 million this particular time. It was a little bit above $2 million on this particular, and we already knew it once we got to that particular point. When the board decided that we were going to purchase instead of building, because we kept trying to build on the vacant lot and the city kept blocking us, we found out why after we sold the property, why they kept blocking us, and they would have kept blocking us for the rest of the time that we were in there. And we didn't know why, because they wouldn't reveal why. They would come up with different stuff and things like that, because they said that whenever you're a church, you are actually a corporation, and you should be where corporations are. And most churches are planted right in the middle of a community, okay? You are there by special permission. And that's why they give the community so much power over the church. They are allowing you to be in their community, simply. So when you want to expand, many times you want to push out part of the community. And they don't want you to become bigger to push out the community. Go into the area where you're supposed to be, which as a business, and go into the business community, and you can grow as large as you want to grow. And so they kept blocking us because they did not want us to become bigger than what we already were. Okay, but they wouldn't tell us. All they had to do was give me that word, and I went to God and told God, tell me where I need to go, because evidently we don't need to be here. But they waited until we sold the place, and then they revealed why they would not let us build there. Okay, so the board decided that they were going to purchase a church somewhere else. And so I immediately started looking for churches that were larger than us. And I found a 19,000 square foot church. And it was for sale, and it had been for sale for over a year. And so we went in, and I started talking and negotiating with the realtor that was selling the place. And basically, we came to an agreement with the church, with the pastor, and all of them on the price that we were going to pay for the 19,000 square feet. Okay? They made the contract. We signed the contract, and we gave it back to the realtor, expecting that it was going to go over to the church for them to sign. When they got the contract, they looked at it and they said, oh, we don't want it to be on a contingency, a contingent in there that you sell your other church first. If you're going to buy this church, we want you to just write the contract that you're buying this church, and you take care of selling your church. Because the reason why, I believe they said, we had this on the market for over a year, and we're not going to hold this up for over a year just for you to sell your church in order to buy it. So we said, fine, okay, remove the contingency. And they took it off. We submitted the paperwork back to them without it, okay? We put our church on the market, and it sold in 2 weeks. Wow. They came in with cash money. They didn't try to lower the price or anything. They came in with cash money. Now, to just give you a little backdrop, it was I'm not going to tell you what type church. It was a church that had been supporting Victory and Praise for years. They owned a furniture store, and every time we would do plays, they would give us all the furniture to do the set with, and then they tell us to either raffle off the set or give it away or do whatever you want to do. They were pretty much supporting us for years, and so they had already been inside of our church, and they had already looked at our church and everything, and the moment they saw that it was for sale, they did not believe. Yeah, they didn't believe in taking out loans, so they had the cash, and they came in and they put it right on the table and said, we already know all about this church and we want the church. Okay, so we were excited because our church sold in 2 weeks. And so we went to our bank because they were going to do the loan for us at the new church. And the bank said, bring me the signed contract from the other church. And so we went to the other church and said, we need the signed contract. And he said, we decided we're not going to sell to you. I said, what? He said, we decided we're not going to sell to you. I said, is it something I said? Is it something that I have done? They said, no, we just decided that we are not going to sell to you. And as a matter of fact, don't call me anymore. I said, but wait a minute, do you understand that we sold our church already? And that means we don't have a place to worship because we sold the place with a full expectation that we were going to purchase it. I understand. I understand. But don't call me anymore. And hung up the phone. See, you no longer seeing God. You're no longer seeing God because when God says no, you can't push through anyway when he says no. And I'm sitting there saying, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Because we have all these people. We have all these people that I don't have any place to worship. We don't have anything. And then all of a sudden our realtor said, do you want me to go back and tell them we're retracting this cash offer? See, this is where, okay, I want you to take over.
So we right now say, but I'm thinking a lot of you retract what you said you were going to do when things get tough. I said I was going to pay my tithes, but then. I said I was going to do, but then. I really was. I had good intentions, but I had to take care of. We told them they didn't have the church, but now we don't have any place to worship. Well, Bishop, why don't we just go back and get the other place? Well, they don't have it. We can still go back. Now, here's the problem with that. Beyond us giving our word and what we're going to do, all right? These were still, I'm going to say, God people.
Yes, they are.
She said he wasn't going to tell you what they were, who they were. I'm going to say these were still God's people in that they understood the concept of reaping and sowing. Why do you say that, Trent? Because they had already been sowing. They had already been sowing into the ministry. We didn't even know what was going on. We didn't know where a furniture company. We didn't know they had a church. We didn't know they had a church, right? But they had already been sowing into the congregation. They had already. So yes, it was their time to reap. There were lots of other people that looked at the building, but they had. Oh, this is a whole other message. They had a plan that they had in place, right? The whole world conquerors, they had a plan. And they were going about it systematically, waiting on the timing of God to step in. And then the enemy wanted to use us to go back and mess up the blessings of God in their life and then consequently in ours. Oh no, the answer is never back.
No,
That's never back. We don't know what. Can you imagine what it looked like for Moses when they got to the Red Sea and they saw the enemy coming and they didn't know which way to go and how they were going? The answer is maybe we can go back and fight them. No, you can't. Maybe they won't get no. The answer is always forward. Even if you don't step into something and you don't know what's going to happen. Thank you, God.